Welcome to the Security Foundation Study Guide. In this video, we will continue with Chapter 5b, which talks about digital forensics. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So let's step right into our first section. Whether due to a character flaw, a need for vengeance, a profit motive, or simple curiosity, an employee or outsider may attack a physical asset or information asset. When the asset is the responsibility of the CISO, he or she is expected to understand how policies and laws require the matter to be managed and protected. To protect the organization and possibly assist law enforcement in an investigation, the CISO must determine what happened and how an incident occurred. This process is called digital forensics. Digital forensics is based on the field of traditional forensics, made popular by scientific detective shows that focus on crime scene investigations. Forensics involves the use of science to investigate events. Not all events involve crimes. Some involve natural events, accidents, or system malfunctions. Forensics allows investigators to determine what happened by examining the results of an event. It also allows them to determine how the event happened by examining activities, individual actions, physical evidence, and testimony related to the event. However, forensics might not figure out the why of the event. That's the focus of psychological, sociological, and criminal justice studies. Here the focus is on the application of forensics techniques in the digital arena. Digital forensics involves the preservation, identification, extraction, documentation, and interpretation of digital media, including computer media for evidentiary and root cause analysis. Like traditional forensics, it follows clear, well-defined methodologies, but it still tends to be as much an art as a science. In other words, the natural curiosity and personal skill of the investigator play a key role in discovering potential evidentiary material. An item does not become evidence until it is formally admitted by a judge or other ruling official. Digital forensics investigators use a variety of tools to support their work, as you will learn later in this module. However, the tools and methods used by attackers can be equally sophisticated. Digital forensics can be used for two key purposes: to investigate allegations of digital malfeasance. Such an investigation requires digital forensics to gather, analyze, and report the findings. This is the primary mission of law enforcement in investigating crimes that involve computer technologies or online information. To perform root cause analysis. If an incident occurs and the organization suspects an attack was successful, digital forensics can be used to examine the path and methodology for gaining unauthorized access, and to determine how pervasive and successful the attack was. This type of analysis is used primarily by incident response teams to examine their equipment after an incident. So there you have it. Now let's drop into the next section, right after this quick break. Some investigations are undertaken by an organization's own personnel, while others require the immediate involvement of law enforcement. In general, whenever investigators discover evidence of a crime, they should immediately notify management and recommend contacting law enforcement. Failure to do so could result in unfavorable action against the investigator or organization. Most organizations cannot sustain a permanent digital forensics team. Such expertise is so rarely called upon that it may be better to collect the data and then outsource the analysis component to a regional expert. The organization can then maintain an arm's length distance from the case and have additional expertise to call upon if the process ends in court. Even so, the information security group should contain members who are trained to understand and manage the forensics process. If the group receives a report of suspected misuse, either internally or externally, a group member must be familiar with digital forensics procedures to avoid contaminating potential evidentiary material. This expertise can be obtained by sending staff members to a regional or national information security conference with a digital forensics track, or to dedicated digital forensics training. The organization should use caution in selecting training for the team or a specialist, as many forensics training programs begin with the analysis process and promote a specific tool rather than teaching management of the process. Most investigations begin with an allegation or an indication of an incident. Whether via the help desk, the organization's sexual harassment reporting channels, or a direct report, someone alleges that a worker is performing actions explicitly prohibited by the organization, or that make another worker uncomfortable in the workplace. In the InfoSec department, a security analyst notes unusual system or network behavior, as described earlier in this module. The organization's forensics team or other authorized entity must then obtain permission to examine digital media for potential EM. In law enforcement, the investigating agent would create an affidavit requesting permission to search for and confiscate related EM. The affidavit summarizes the facts of the case, items relevant to the investigation, and the location of the event. When an approving authority signs the affidavit or creates a synopsis form based on the document, it becomes a search warrant. In corporate environments, the names of these documents may change and in many cases written authorization may not be needed, but the process should be the same. Formal permission is obtained before an investigation occurs. Now that we went over that, let's walk into the next section. Right after this. In digital forensics, all investigations follow the same basic methodology once permission for search and seizure has been obtained. 1. Identify relevant EM. 2. Acquire, seize the evidence without alteration or damage. 3. Take steps to ensure that the evidence is verifiably authentic at every step and is unchanged from the time it was seized. 4. Analyze the data without risking modification or unauthorized access. 5. Report the findings to the proper authority. The affidavit or warrant that authorizes a search must identify what items of evidence can be seized and where they are located. Only EM that fits the description on the authorization can be seized. These seizures often occur under stressful circumstances and strict time constraints, so thorough item descriptions help the process function smoothly and ensure that critical evidence is not overlooked. Thorough descriptions also ensure that items are not wrongly included as EM, which could jeopardize the investigation. Because users have access to many online server locations via free email archives, FTP servers, and video archives, and could have terabytes of information stored in off-site locations across the web or on their local systems, investigators must have an idea of what to look for or they may never find it. Once the evidence is acquired, both the copy image and the original drive should be handled properly to avoid legal challenges based on authenticity and preservation of integrity. If the organization or law enforcement cannot demonstrate that no one had access to the evidence, they cannot provide strong assurances that it has not been altered. Such access can be physical or logical if the device is connected to a network. Once the evidence is in the possession of investigators, they must track its movement, storage, and access until the resolution of the event or case. This is typically accomplished through chain of evidence, also known as chain of custody procedures. The evidence is then tracked wherever it is located. When the evidence changes hands or is stored, the documentation is updated. If you find this video useful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. To see more videos like this, please click in the rectangle in the middle of your screen. To see other videos from this channel, please click the circle on the bottom right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.